Win like a monster with the new iSport sweat-proof athletes headphones. Available in-ear, on-ear, wired, and Bluetooth. Find your style at PLUGHITZLive.com/monster.
Hi guys, Danielle here with PLUGHITZ Live, part of the Tech Podcast Network. I'm here at Gibson Brands with Aljon. Hello. Can you tell us a little bit what's new with the Gibson Brands?
Yeah, so we have a lot of great guitars here for our 2017 line. We have acoustic guitars, we have semi-hollow jazz style guitars, and solid body guitars. And here we're sitting in the Gibson Memphis area, which is known for our semi-hollow and hollow body guitars.
Okay. Yeah. And this is all like electric guitar stuff, right?
Oh, absolutely. Great. You know, plug it into an amplifier and get rocking.
Yeah, so what do we have behind us?
So what we have here is a brand new guitar. It's called the ES, that actually stands for Electric Spanish. That's what the ES stands for, ES 275. And the 275 is a really nice jazz guitar. Now, in the past, jazz guitars have been really big, huge body guitars. And what we found out through our research is that we have a whole new crop of jazz players who are interested in a more compact design with classic looks. So in doing that, we're able to take a jazz guitar classic, the Gibson L5, and really shrink it down like by 10%, make the body thinner, but still have those vintage guitar appointments. So it looks like a really classy jazz guitar. You get that nice mellow tone. It's completely hollow. So if you want to play those nice clean jazz chords, you're going to be able to get that with so much clarity, but just in a smaller, compact design made for the modern player.
Okay, that's really nice. Okay, so then going down the line, what is the rest of it?
So we have a brand new, this is an ES 335, and this 335 has got all kinds of great features. Basically, it harkens back to the old school, like the Chuck Berry style, the architect of rock and roll style sound. But you can see here, it's not a regular finish. Typically Gibson ES model or electric Spanish models have this nice vintage sunburst or this nice heritage cherry look from the 50s and 60s. This right here is such a brand new guitar. It's got a really modern style finish. I think it's definitely made for a player that wants to stand out, that wants to be a little bit flashy on stage. And we have some great hardware appointments on here. We've got a nice aluminum bridge here and just a really nice comfortable neck. And a lot of players who follow the ES model guitars that Gibson puts out really know players like Joe Bonamassa and those kind of players. And we have Joe Bonamassa and a Luther Dickinson inspired neck profile, which suits so many great players and so many great styles. It's just a very comfortable guitar neck. It's not year specific like some of our other models, but it just fits in your hand really well. Feels like a broken in guitar, and that's what you want, a guitar that's so comfortable to play. So we're gonna get that really nice melodic sound that Chuck Berry's known for, but this is totally wild and out. You have a great new finish and a new neck, and it's gonna feel really good and comfortable to play.
That's awesome, okay.
Yeah. And then we have here, we haven't left the historics behind. You want that vintage look, you want that vintage sound. Well, what we have here is a really vintage style ES335 model. This one dates back to 1958. It's modeled after that. So instead of looking and scouring the different music shops for a vintage guitar, you have here a guitar that recreates it. It's got the aged binding, it's got the right neck, it's a little bit chunkier neck. The hardware is aged, so it looks like it's been played and kept underneath the bed for 50 years. It sounds really, really good. And then we also have our Premier line, which is also new, which actually takes the wood, okay, the center block of wood, it's maple, and we actually bake it so that and it's a proprietary process, but when you bake the wood in the way that we do, it actually is lighter and more resonant, and it sounds like a guitar that's aged 50 years. So it's like if you could go back in a time machine, take a 1958 guitar and bring it to the year 2017 and have all that age happen, in between and accelerate the process, we've discovered a way to do it and make the guitar sound more resonant, like it's been sitting in a wine room or a vault for 50 years, and you get that response, you get that tone that people have been wanting for. So instead of waiting 50 years for your guitar to mature, this will actually make it happen for them. So the Premier line is available right now.
And how do they actually bake the guitars? Like, how does that work? Not the guitars, but the wood.
It's a little bit more difficult than baking cookies, but suffice it to say, it's a proprietary process that we do. It's a scientific way that we do it. And when you bake the wood, the cells, they kind of morph and they change. It's kind of like, when trees age and they get older, things start happening, and then when those cells are exposed to that baking process, it just accelerates the aging process. So it's just a really weird thing that happens. It's a lot of science, but we were able to incorporate that into our guitar building, and with our time-honored traditional methods of building these traditional guitars, it just sounds so much more warmer and just sounds like it's just like a bouquet of flowers that just opened up and came to life. It's a really cool thing.
So baking the wood actually brings out more sound.
Yeah, actually does, you know, and the way that we do it, it's a special thing. You just can't throw it into like a campfire and roast it like chestnuts on an open fire. There's a really scientific way that we do it and monitor it, and before it gets, you know, overly baked, you know, we're able to take it out of the oven and just use it, and it's just a really cool thing. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think a lot of people think that there's not really too much new with guitars and stuff, but I don't think that's the case here. What's actually changing in the world of Gibson and guitars?
You know, Gibson is known for their prestige, quality, and innovation, and we want to let everyone know that innovation is still going on at the level of making sure that people get the tones and the feel that they want. Instead of searching for a vintage guitar and spending, you know, $250,000 on a really nice vintage piece, we're incorporating that age into newer guitars, that technology aspect of it. We're taking three-dimensional scans of other players' vintage guitars and recreating them by hand so that you can purchase a guitar that has those player appointments. You know, your favorite guitar hero, we're taking those scans and making it happen, you know, with a 3D scanner and all kinds of things, so that we are being as faithful to the original guitars as possible. A lot of research and a lot of time is involved into making those guitars, and we've taken so many of our plastics and our electronics and really went to the whole CSI level of just, you know, finding out, you know, what plastics, what type of chemicals that they were used in making those plastics, and recreating it to just such a way that even the most vintage guitar person can pick it up and look at it and go, wow, you really did a great job of recreating it, because this is exactly how I remembered it. It's exactly like the one that I have in my vault. I can't play it out anymore because it's too valuable, so now I can buy this one and now I can play it, and it still has that same look and feel.
So getting back to the guitars that are standing behind us, why would someone choose one over the other?
Right, so if you are a jazz player, you probably want to have a nice bigger body style and get some of those jazzier tones. So by using a guitar like the ES-275, you're able to get that kind of melodic range of frequencies that only a hollow body guitar can deliver, versus something like the ES-335, which has a maple center block in the middle that reduces feedback. So if you're playing a little bit more rock and roll, you want to add a little bit more distortion, a little bit more gain, drive the sound a little bit more, you know, something like Wolfmother or, you know, something like that, you want to get a guitar that deadens the feedback. If you have a hollow body guitar, when you strum it, the frequencies will resonate in the chamber like almost like an acoustic guitar, and as you crank up the volume on your amp, you're going to get a lot of feedback. So what you want when you play really loud and you play with a little bit of distortion is you want to limit that, and that's the beauty of a semi-hollow guitar, is that it reduces all the feedback. Now, of course, it's not as feedback prone as, like, or I mean, it's a little bit more feedback prone than like a solid body, because a solid body, you don't have the chambers to have those reverberations, those frequencies reverberate and cause feedback. But the semi-hollow does a good job of cutting it down while still remaining that acoustic quality.
And then, so are there like other colors, different models for these series?
Oh, absolutely. These come in various different models. You can get some with, you know, vintage sunburst, nice classic look, or hair cherry, or some more outrageous colors like this green, you know, type of color, or blue, or reds. So yeah, all of these guitars are available in multiple colors and different options for the players, so you can really get in and get the guitar that you want.
So if someone wanted to find out more about these guitars and Gibson brands, where can they go?
You can always find us at Gibson.com. All of our product information, the specs, and different finishes are available there.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you so much for being here at CES.
Yeah, definitely. So for continuing CES 2017 coverage, stay tuned to PLUGHITZlive.com.